Good morning, everybody. Good morning on a lovely Wednesday morning. Sun is shining here, and hope the sun is shining where you are. We'll be ready to go in just a minute. Nice to see everybody in the chat room. Thank you so much for coming here, as we do most of the mornings. And got to turn the radio off here, and we'll be ready to go in just a minute with a lot of good stuff. And this weekend on Sirius Radio, we'll be talking about an interesting subject. Last week, the baseball card thing was phenomenal. This week, we're going to be talking about the worst trade or the best trade you ever made in fantasy baseball, or any fantasy sport for that matter. So it'd be greatly if you want to think about that and put it in the chat room, that would be terrific. The best or worst trade that you ever made. And we all know that sometimes we kick ourselves. And welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard on a lovely Wednesday morning. Tomorrow, Andy will be coming home. So I may be in a little better shape. A lot going on. So welcome to everybody into the chat room. Okay? So there you go. Let's get right to it. And first of all, I have to... I have to say that I was listening to a radio show this morning. I'm not even going to mention the show, but at the very end of the show, they talked about golf. First, they responded to the fact that you should not believe any football beat writer and take anything that a football beat writer says as the proverbial grain of salt because nothing's happening. And then they go about to spend a half hour talking football. It makes absolutely no sense what's going on. And then to talk about golf and finally at the very end, only to promote their own website and their own stuff, they promoted about the premium package where they talked about pitchers and pitching matchups. Baseball was talked about at the last 3 minutes, right? At the last 3 minutes. And if that's what it's come to, that golf is being discussed over baseball at this point in time, it's passed me by. It's time for me to go. I'm telling you. Or it's time for me to jump back in the pool. So we'll see. Okay? So there you go. So, we'll be talking about all that stuff. All right? They haven't told me how long the Sunday show will continue. So if it does, strategies. If you've got anything on your mind, especially bad trades that you made or bad moves that you've made, whether you dropped Mike Soroka. Did you really drop Mike Soroka? Holy cow, Traveler dropped Mike Soroka. And you know what? We can't, a week before he got called up, and we can't even fault you for that. Because you probably dropped him for another player. And look, there's nobody that's not droppable if you can pick up a better player. The worst thing a fantasy owner can experience is when you drop somebody, as Traveler did, or you trade somebody, and bingo, lo and behold, that guy becomes a star in the next week to 10 days to 2 weeks. Is there anything worse than that? If a player gets hurt, it's not your fault. But if you make a move where you're dropping or trading a player who becomes a star, boy, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. Absolute worst. So this show is talking about golf, and I understand the popularity of golf these days. It was never more popular than when Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino, and Arnold Palmer played. That's for sure. And also Gary Player. So it was popular then. Boy, could you imagine Unholy Toledo? If you're here, is Unholy Toledo here? Hope so. No, White Sox Alan Zelmo were here, but it's popular. It would have been very popular to play DFS in those days. That's for sure. But here we go. We're going to play DFS in baseball. And when you do, remember, in 2013, one Major League Baseball team hit more than 200 home runs. Just one. This year, There are 22 teams on pace to hit 200 homers or more. And look, we all know there's a million ways of saying baseball has changed. All right, so here's a million and one. Dallas Keuchel is scheduled to pitch on Saturday, and that could line him up to make his Atlanta debut on June 21st in Washington. So that's the schedule for Dallas Keuchel. There's a potential of June 21st in Washington, and not too bad. All right, the Dodgers, of course, their offense, they're third best in OPS. Their rotation is second best with a 2.73. Their defensive runs saved is first. But the bullpen with a 4.4 ERA is 18th in Major League Baseball. And you can bet your sweet Bippy that Ken Giles or there's going to be some pitcher going. Maybe Shane Green. Somebody's going there, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a closer. Could be Raisel Iglesias, so be careful with your closers, that's for sure. If you've got any closer that may be on the verge of getting traded, and it's Iglesias, especially Shane Green, and Will Smith and Ken Giles, those are the top three. If you have one of those three, if they go to the Dodgers, Kenley Jansen has made it clear he's not going to relinquish his closing job. So if that's the case, you got Ken Giles. I know this is hard to do, but if you have Ken Giles, I'm going to leave Iglesias out, okay? Will Smith or Shane Green. These are good closers, good relief pitchers on bad teams who almost have to make a trade. If that's the case, then go ahead and market them right now. It would be a big mistake. You're not going to get anything from Michael Givens, who got the save last night. He's available. Some of the other guys you just don't know. But those three, Giles, Shane Green, and whoever else I mentioned is the third. It was Giles, Green, help me out here, Cha-Cha, and put each one of these guys on the market, okay? Put them on, and anything's liable to happen. There's a rumor out now about Madison Bumgarner going to the Dodgers, and how could the Giants and the Dodgers make a trade? Well, their history shows it ain't that easy. There was a time, and where is Unholy Toledo here? He's got to be here because this is about him. I got to talk to this guy. Where's Unholy? Come on, Unholy. You got to be here, man. So anyway, we'll do it without him. But there was a time that there was a pitcher for the New York Giants. His name was Sal the Barber Magley. Sal Magley. And the reason he was called the Barber is that he had no problem throwing the ball right under your chin. He'd take the hairs off your chin. So he was called the Barber, and he used to throw all the time at Carl Furillo, and it was bad. End result, San Francisco, the New York Giants traded him to who? The Dodgers. A big rivalry. And they hated Sal Magley. But on the other side, I don't know what year it was, certainly it was the end of his career. Jackie Robinson, Brooklyn Dodgers, was traded to the Jackie Robinson was traded to the New York Giants. Now, people don't know this, but he was traded to the New York Giants, and guess what Jackie Robinson did? Guess what he did? He retired. Rather than play for the Giants, Jackie Robinson decided to retire. There you go. Jackie Robinson decided to retire. Josh Bell is currently the number one first baseman in the All-Star voting. Who was the last Pirate player to start at an infield position in the All-Star game? All right, see if you can come up with that. I may have given you that before, but I don't know if I gave you the answer. The last Pirate player to start an infield position in the All-Star game. And, of course, the last Pirate to start at first base was Dale Long in 1956. How about that one? I mean, Rod Carew was Minnesota hasn't had a first baseman start since 1980. Rod Carew, and the Dodgers haven't had anybody start at first base since Steve Garvey. How about that one? All right. Good. Jeremy Gibbs is here. Just came from the gym. Wasn't Stargell. No, it was not. Will. Jay Gibbs is here, and now we're cooking. We got Leonard Donaldson and Jeremy Gibbs here. Now we're ready to go. Good morning to Arnie and Cam and Cha-Cha and Dirty Eck and DK Lush and Doug Boyle. Easy Kill, great job again last night. Jay Gibbs is here. Good morning, Jeremy. Leonard Donaldson, Lou Landers, Mal Pal, Meckert, Mitchell Harston. Good morning to Phil and KC Royal, Kevin Hastings, that guy, Traveler, White Sox Al Zelmo. And somebody, a Suicide Squeeze coming up right after this. Don't miss it. Lou Landis does a great job. Predicting Miguel Castro didn't get the save last night, Lou. All right. No, wasn't Josh Harrison or Freddie Sanchez. The last Pittsburgh Pirate infielder to play in the All-Star game, to start in the All-Star game. I'll give you a clue. It was before 1990. Okay. Wasn't Jay Bell? It wasn't Jay Bell, but that's a good one. All right, it was not Jay Bell. Let's see. Let me just look at the question again. The last Pirate to start an infield position in the All-Star game. Okay, that's the question. Now, as far as Suns are concerned, there was a couple of in the draft. I love the Suns. Okay, you had Rodney McRae playing right field for AAA. In the Pacific Coast League. Rodney McRae, remember him? All right. Yeah, that's right. Rodney McRae. His son. Now, Rodney McRae, who became a celebrity, made his way into the TV sport. He played 67 Major League games, but he ran through the plywood fence. Remember that? Long fly ball, tracked it down. His son was drafted. And then who else was drafted? Glenn Allen Hill's son was drafted. Miguel Cairo had his son drafted. And Brock Bell was drafted. And he's the son of Jay Bell. All right, so there you go. You're right in the chat room. Wasn't Willie Stargell? I'll tell you what. He's still getting paid in Major League Baseball. Yeah, there you go. Malpal's got it. All right. Bobby Bonilla. There you go. It was Bobby Bonilla. Wasn't Parker, not Wes. I know who Parker you meant. It was Bobby Bonilla in 1988. Good morning to you all. Arnie is here. Nice to have you aboard. All right, so let's get on to the nitty and the gritty. Okay, round the horn. Fulton-Newich, first time All-Star starter last year. 4 runs, 5 hits. Toussaint followed up. Fulton-Newich. His ERA rose to over 6. And, of course, Brian McCann, 2-run homer against the Pirates. So he had 2 home runs, okay? Records are falling. The Braves have hit 99 home runs. Second at 99 home runs, okay? Austin Riley. Remember that guy? There was a guy who came up this year. His name is Austin Riley. Anybody know this guy? A rookie is a rookie is a rookie. He has now struck out 11 times in his last 6 games. Okay, there you go. There you go. Cha-Cha is right. As soon as these rookies start to hit, this guy, Yodano, whatever his name is, Jordan now is called Air Jordan with his 2 home runs. Cha-Cha will tell you, trade him now while you can. That's right. Trade the new car in the showroom, valued at $30,000, and then as soon as he gets called up, he's $25,000, and then as soon as he hits 2 home runs, he's up to $50,000. Trade him. That's it. What do you think these guys are going to do? Become Hank Aaron, Mickey Mantle, and what do you think they're going to do? Austin Riley struck out 11 times in his last 6 games, and that we don't hear about, right? That we don't hear about. It's pretty bad. Okay? Does the rookie comment apply to Soraka?